Hari Om, I'm with Swami Swaroopananda. Swami Swaroopananda met Pujya Gurudev in Hong Kong. After a while, Swamiji joined the Vedanta Course in Sandeepany Sadhanalaya, Mumbai between 84 and 86. Swamiji was so fortunate enough to be taught by Pujya Gurudev and Pujya Guruji Swami Tejomayananda. Having completed the Vedanta course, Swamiji was posted to Hong Kong and Australia. Right now, Swamiji is the Director in charge of Chinmaya International Residential School. Swamiji has authored many books, released audio cassettes and video cassettes also. But let us at the very beginning know how Swamiji had met Pujya Gurudev and how his journey started. Hari Om Swamiji. I'm so fortunate to be here with you and I was waiting for this moment. Now Swamiji, I would like to know when you met Pujya Gurudev for the first time.
I wonder when was the first time. As such, it appears that when I was in Hong Kong and my father was trying to convince a youngster that he should come and listen to this Swami, who's an amazing teacher, an amazing orator. And he was trying to convince me to go and listen to Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. He did not know that I was already reading his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita.
Swamiji, you started reading Gita before you met Gurudev?
Yes, I found Gurudev's commentary on Bhagavad Gita and I had started reading it and I was amazed by the logic, the scientific approach, the practicality of his approach, and never thought that this is what Bhagavad Gita is all about. And that's how I started reading the Bhagavad Gita. So whether I came in contact with him through his Bhagavad Gita or when I first saw him on the stage giving the discourse on the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, I really wonder, when did I really meet him? Later on I found out that from childhood I had been reading his books, the Bal Bhagavatam, the Bal Ramayana, and wonder of wonders, I found out that the very doctor who facilitated my delivery was an ardent devotee of Gurudev and has now left her property to Chinmaya mission, which is called as Chinmaya Mahima.
Swamiji, is it Janma Janmantara Runanubandha?
It is always said that the Guru finds the disciple long before even the disciple knows.
So it was like that in your case?
I think so.
Okay. Swamiji, speak about your days as a Chinmaya Yoga Kendra.
After I listened to Gurudev, I heard about these classes of the youth. At first I thought I'm the only youth and it was quite awkward for a youngster to take to spirituality when everybody says, is spirituality and Bhagavad Gita is meant for old people. But I was surprised how many youth were attending Gurudev's discourses. So I went there, listened to Gurudev and found out that there were some classes for the youth. And when I joined them, I was very intrigued because the discussions we used to have and the interaction, and it became a very good support group for each other, that we were called for question answer session with Gurudev. There was a question that was always there in my mind. Since I had started my seeking, I was reading books, attending satsangs, especially when the people see some youngsters taking interest, they want to grab you, take you here, take you there, give this book, give this, that cassettes, So I attended a few satsangs and of course, slowly my interest in spirituality was so intense that I wanted to know. Everybody seems to say their method of meditation,
Yes.
their guru, and that's the only way. So I put this question to Gurudev. I said, Swamiji, is there one type of meditation or are there many types of meditation? And as usual, Gurudev just looked into my eyes and said, is there one type of medication or there are many types of medication? So naturally the answer was already given. No? He says, as many diseases, that many medicines. As many diseased minds, that many meditations. But one very interesting incident is during that trip itself, that after that question answer session, which was the last day of his stay in Hong Kong after his discourse, and he was leaving the next day early morning for the airport. After an inspiring session with Gurudev, none of us youngsters wanted to go back home into those flats, watch television. It was a Saturday night. It was not very unusual for youngsters to stay out late at night. It was quite common, though many of us never stayed out that late. But that day, none of us wanted to go back home. So in Hong Kong, there was this quiet place called as the Peak. So we all went to the Peak and went to different areas, a very quiet place, the only probably quiet natural place in Hong Kong. Either we were discussing about the questions that Gurudev answered, or sitting in quiet contemplation, which we really didn't know what the meaning was. We had just told us what meditation is. And we were just sitting there. We didn't realize how quickly time passed.
Okay.
Sitting there in peace. We didn't know in the city havoc was breaking loose. Some parents had called the house to find out why we have not returned. And naturally the people started getting very anxious as to where these youngsters have gone. They must have gone to a party, and what disgraceful. Parents are worried. They came to Gurudev's satsang, and after that these youngsters may have gone to a disco or to party. And we didn't know. We blissfully went home, slept early morning at 6 o'clock, rushed to the airport to see Gurudev off. And when we reached at the airport, it's like, hell has broken loose. Everybody reprimanding us, scolding us, that, can you imagine when parents were calling, we had to wake up Gurudev. Why did you have to wake up Gurudev? That these youngsters have got lost, and you all went out and partied. Nobody was ready to listen to the youngsters, where they went and what they were doing. Everybody jumped to the conclusion that after a satsang with Gurudev, these people went to some disco or party or something like that. And nobody was ready to listen to us. Anyway, we felt very sad that Gurudev has got this impression. We should clarify, but Gurudev would just come and walk into the immigration. And we barely would get chance to bow down to him but as usual, even a moment with him is always precious. He walked in and he saw us from a distance, and we were all running to bow down to him and apologize that in case, in some manner we have caused any distress to Gurudev or anxiety or even, a bad name. And we just went to bow down to him, and he said, "Where have you all been at night?" We literally wanted to die. I don't know what these people have told Gurudev. But what did we know? He's all-knowing.
Yeah.
And more than else, he has total confidence in who he is.
That is true, Swamiji.
He had clearly said that when the mind is quiet, there will be no doubts. I think he was so sure that we could never have gone. Even if we went to a party, it would have been not anything bad, but we would have never gone there. And before anybody could explain to him, anybody could tell him that we had not gone to party, but we went to the mountain to meditate, which is called as the Peak. And he just, as though his arms are always so long like Ramchandraji, he embraced us all. We were about 20, 30 youngsters, just as though embraced us all. And he says, "My children, you don't have to go to the peak to meditate. In meditation, reach the peak."
This must be wonderful advice for you, isn't it, Swamiji?
Yes. But what was most important is that he had such confidence that his children could never do anything
wrong
or extroverted. He was so confident in that. And that's how, that's why he was so loved by the youth, because everybody knew he understands them.
Okay. Swamiji, those days Sidbari was newly built.
Yes.
Can you tell me, how there were no comforts over there?
No comforts,
Yeah. But how did you all manage?
That's exactly was amazing. That we always think that happiness is in the objects of comforts that we have or we are quite used to. This is the first time we experience. I had also thought I'm going to an ashram. I had an image of one of those Ramayana ashrams with thatched huts. I had absolutely no idea where I was going. I was just going because Gurudev was there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that rustic, but when I went there, we were 7 in a room. We had to sleep on the ground. I took one that time I used to get this Air India briefcase. I carried 2 pairs of clothes.
Just 2 pairs?
2 pairs of clothes, 1 towel, and one I was wearing and going. So my pant and shirt, and remaining was my kurta and pajama in the ashram I'll be. So I took that. And that's all I had. No warm clothes, nothing. We were given only one chatai, one straw mat to lie on. No mattress, thick mattress or anything. Oh, cold water you had to get at 4 o'clock in the morning because 4:30 you had to be there for Vedic chanting and meditation. You had to go down, whether you had to freeze in the cold or have a freezing cold water bath. One of the two. And we were 7 of us, blind in a room, many of them adults snoring away. And we 2 youngsters who would probably walk into the room late and wake them up, and they would wake us up early in the morning. No mirrors. And of course, the only meal that we used to get, which Gurudev said, never complain about, because you're very lucky that in the Himalayas you're getting this, because he only got rice with 2 floating pieces of dal in it. We at least got bangan and potato for lunch, and then potato and bangan for lunch, and bangan and potato for dinner. So that's how it was. But amazing is, I still think it's one of the best experience in our life. And what I discovered at that time is that we are so dependent on so many things without which we think we cannot live or by which we will get happiness. Here we had none of those comforts, none of those things. But we were never happier than that before. Gurudev would eat anything that was given to him. And very often people thought that, he enjoyed different variety of food. I was in London with him, and that was the last trip I was with him in 1993. And he had taught us that whatever food is given to you, accept. And generally you think about food which are simple or less or meager or tasteless, accept. And which we tried our best always to follow, that whatever was offered to us as bhiksha, we ate. People, of course, knowing that we are Gurudev's children, they would put banquets in front of us. Now there also I had to eat little, but when I was with Gurudev, it is his bhiksha. So I was saying no to a lot of food because some of them were very rich or fried, etc. And the Gurudev was eating, he ate very little, but he was eating little of it. So when that lady was offering me and I said no, of course her face fell down a little bit that, that I'm not eating. And then it was so touching. When she went away, Gurudev just told me, he says, they made with so much love. Eat just a little of it, it'll make them happy. And then I realized that how to make people happy in spite of his ill health, in spite of him wanting just simple sambar and rice maybe, he would eat all this feast, little that anybody and everybody has made. So that
that would
not only they get the punyas of it, but that they would be happy. Even before the flight would take up, he had his file out. Even there he was writing letters to his devotees in whose homes he had gone for bhiksha. He was writing letters till the flight took off. Then when the food was served and then he was resting, I observed that his legs were a lot of pain. And whole night I could see he wasn't sleeping. But I didn't disturb him. I was watching him, beside him. And then around 3:30, I could see that, he was in pain. And because I was on the aisle seat, he was in the window. So I just asked, Gurudev, is there anything I can get you? So he said, yeah, just get me some hot drink or like milk or something and some water. So I got him. I knew if I asked him about his discomfort or pain, he's just going to brush it away.
Yeah.
Because he never, invoke kind of sympathy or any such thing.
Yeah.
He was a real, master in himself. So I put it the other way around. I had also gone through a lot of physical pain. So I just asked, I'm watching him all throughout the night. I just asked him, I said, Gurudev, the body which is inert cannot feel pain. the Atma, the consciousness, has no experience of pain, then how does this pain come about? The only way I could, express my concern for his pain, which I see.
Right.
So, he, again, as usual, he would laugh. He just laughed and he said, when you are in sleep, where is pain? He says, only when the mind identifies with this body. Then there is pain. And that one simple line, he taught me the secret of pain management. Always wanted to gain knowledge. The thirst was always there. And when I met Gurudev, and especially read the Bhagavad Gita with his commentary, this thirst for knowledge was fulfilled. No? And when I went to Siddhabadi and I saw, here is a person who works almost 20 hours a day, where every minute, every second of his, every sweat, a drop of sweat of his, was only for the happiness of people. At that moment, I just thought in Siddhabadi that everything I wanted to do is here, but here is an ideal, a hero in front of me who is doing so much like I can never imagine anybody doing. And I said, if I am able, by His grace, to do just a wee bit of what He has done as gratitude, because if He did not come down from the Himalayas, He didn't come to this materialistic place like Hong Kong, where would I have a chance of this knowledge or know that something like this is available? Maybe all life I would be seeking,
Swamiji,
So that's how I thought about it and saw the brahmachari, the Vedanta Course, Vedanta Course where brahmachari study, etc. Spent time with the brahmachari, especially in Siddhabadi and especially with Guruji, then brahmachari Vivek, and that's the time when I thought in my mind. It was still not very this, but this is what I want to do. Gurudev, he would come and join us all in the Anakshetra, the dining hall. He would join us all and come and sit with us and eat. And such a great spiritual master. And he never had this entourage around him, like, running up and down. Alone from the dining hall. At that time, the roads were also quite muddy, and with his khadao, he used to walk, and muddy and stony. And he would just walk to his kutia alone. Now, we were two youngsters from Hong Kong, and we thought that Gurudev is walking alone. This is really not nice. Somebody should escort him. So with our hands full of food, we would just abandon, or we eat quickly and just abandon whatever is left, and we would hold our hands behind and we would walk with Gurudev.
Without washing your hands.
Without washing our hands. We used to walk with Gurudev. Later on afterwards, we stopped eating in the first batch so that we could walk Gurudev to his kutia. So we would just keep our hands behind and walk with him. And those became one of the most memorable moments in every camp, because we used to go every 6 months. And then afterwards, of course, people saw that, these 2-3 youngsters are getting so much attention from Gurudev. So those who didn't get a chance to eat would follow us. And then the big entourage started to walk. And very often they would vie for attention. But for a couple of years that we were walking Gurudev to his kutia, he would turn around, and even if they tried to vie for his attention, he said, "This is my Hong Kong time." So let anybody be there. But we had, his full attention. It was my last camp that I would be attending after which I was to become the brahmachari. And of course, as brahmachari had to be probably very proper, and you couldn't just go up to Gurudev and be like when we are in the Yuva Kendra or the youth group. So I was waiting outside. That day it was pouring in the mountains, and it's like that. Everybody was indoors. I stood at the door, and Gurudev's attendant Shiv Raman was there with the jug of water for him to wash his hands. And seeing that it was pouring, I tried to look for an umbrella. Shiv Raman had already brought an umbrella. And he said, Gurudev, rain or shine, he's going to walk, so you stand with the umbrella. So I was waiting to open the door for him. I opened the door and Gurudev walked out as though he didn't even notice me. And I closed the door and I went down the steps and I was standing with the umbrella. He washed his hand. He looked up into the sky. It was pouring. Would he stop? Because he was so particular about time. Whether there was umbrella, no umbrella, whether there was anyone to take him. It was pouring. He just walked down the steps and there he saw me in the side. I just said, Gurudev, he saw me in the umbrella. Oh, you're waiting with me. Oh, you're waiting for me with the umbrella? And he grabbed me into his arms. And the two of us in the umbrella. And I really don't know where the umbrella was, who was holding the umbrella, whether the umbrella was flying in the wind, was hitting him. But he was singing for me one Hindi song, which is a mixture of a couple of songs, which I think back now. But I think we both of us were lost because he said, Hum tum barsat mein. And I think that was the most blissful moment. Because Brahma Sparsha,